Okay, so this is part 3 of people of color can be racist too. So racism, it's a hot pocket topic. It will always be a hot pocket topic. And no matter what you do, no matter where you go, if you are living in America, racism is the thing that moves this country. Alright? All the other tragic events in the world, unless it has something to do with a race person, or a person of a race of either white or black, confronting each other. The mass shootings, no one identifies the shooter. They don't give a damn about this guy being black, white, or other. Woman is raped or murdered, unless it's a salt and pepper crime. No one cares. You know, they care for the victim. They don't really give a damn about the asshole that did it. But we, as people, we don't address racism. That's why we have racism, because no one wants to address it. No one wants to sit down and get a bunch of people in a controlled environment and have a talk about why you hate my ass. Why you hate my ass? What is it that I've done to you to make you hate me? Or do you hate me for the one thing that I didn't ask for? I'm going to tell you right now, there are a lot of people who are proud to be black, and there ain't a damn thing wrong with that. There are a lot of people who are proud to be white, there are a lot of people who are proud to be Asian, and there's nothing wrong with wanting to be proud of who you are or what your ethnicity is. There's nothing wrong with that. But then there are people who flip the script, and they hate the people who are proud to be who and what they are. This also extends into the alternative lifestyle of the LGBTQ thing. I'm pretty sure I just offended all of y'all with that, so I'm sorry. But the fact of the matter is, no one on earth can help two things. Technically one thing, but no one on earth can help the two things. And these are what the two things are. You can't help your skin color because you don't get a choice of who you are born into. You don't get that choice. Two, you can't help your gender. Now that gets a plus minus thing because now, you know, there's surgeries to fix that and all kinds of other stuff, and that's like on a whole nother level of racism and prejudice that I don't really want to touch on at the beginning of this video. And if I remember it by the end of this video, then I'll come back to it. But for instance, okay, I said this a lot in my racist post videos. I am mixed. I am of Cherokee, I am of black, and I am of white ethnicity. I will never be one of all. You know, I will never fully be black, I will never fully be white, I will never fully be Cherokee. And I say that because I have been a victim of racism of almost all three of those. I'll explain yet again, because I've made these videos, I've made a ton of these damn things. No one's watching, but I will explain again. So, as a child, you know, most of my racism, and even into adulthood, have come at me from, sadly, more black people than anyone else. Alright, so don't tell me that people of color can't be racist. As an adult, I've had maybe one or two incidences from white people. Maybe 4 at best. And as an adult, I've had one incident from Native Americans. I've only had Asian incidences as a child, alright? And most of that was my fault because you get taught racism, alright? You get taught racism and people don't want to get into that, but the truth of the matter is racism is not something you are born with, it is something you are taught. And if you are living in a family that is teaching you racism and you're walking down the street, this is how you know if you're in that family. You're walking down the street, your parents look at an Asian or a black person and you're a white kid and they're looking at you like, don't you ever bring one of them people home. You can have them as friends, but don't you ever marry into that race. They're racist. Simple as that. They're straight fucking racist. And if you're a white kid or a black kid or an Asian kid and that pisses you off, I'm sorry, but that's the way the world works. And if you're sitting here thinking, oh, James, you're full of shit, no, I'm not. You just haven't met that situation yet. I've been there. I'm 46. Trust me. If you are walking and you are of color, or if you are black and your parent looks at an Asian girl and says, if you ever marry an Asian girl, I'll disown you. They're racist. If you are Asian and your parent goes, if you ever marry that black man or that black woman, I'll disown you. They're racist. The fact that they love you just went out the window when they said they will disown you. And that works for all races. If your parent would rather you suffer with someone your race that hates your guts and beats your ass and treats you like shit, than see you with someone who could love you for the rest of your life, and they choose to disown you because you would be happier and safer with this person than not happy and not safe with this asshole who is the same race as you, that will beat your ass on a daily basis, and then your parents are so appreciated that you are dating this person of the same race. And I'm going to be honest with all of you right now. Each and every one of us are in more danger from someone who looks just like you than from someone who doesn't. Now, this is circumstantial and situational because sometimes situations do occur where you will encounter some serious racist shit where people of a different race will try to hurt you. Charlottesville proved that to be 100% canon. So here's the thing. From 16 to 19, when I worked at Kegler's, I'm not going to say this man was racist. I don't want to pass judgment on him. I am going to say he was fucking annoying, and no matter how many times I asked him to call my name, which is James, he kept calling me Chief. Now, I can see in my face that I have Cherokee features, or Native American features. It's not a problem. Most of y'all can see, too, if you know any Native Americans. Now, what I didn't know then, what I learned in my 20s, was that Native Americans were Asian. And I should have known that. I should have remembered that. And, you know, before I even knew I was part Cherokee, I just thought I was black. And then there was like race wars that ran, and the white kids didn't want me on their side. The black kids didn't want me on their side because they seen what my mother looks like, and they're like, oh, you got a white mom. And my mom's not white. My mom can pass, but she's not white. My mom's dad's dad was white. And that was one of them things way back in the day when interracial relationships was illegal. You know? And the thing with that is that, you know, the Virginia versus Loving case set the standards for we as people. We can't help who we fall in love with. And the law doesn't have the right to tell us that we can't love someone. Now, before you go on, let me cut that short really, really quickly, because the law can tell you who you can and can't be involved with when the person you are involved with is underage. That's about the only time the law can really say something. If I'm 40 years old and I'm dating a 14-year-old, yeah, I'm going to jail. Now, without question, because I'm 40 fucking years old and I shouldn't be dating a 14-year-old. And not only am I going to jail, but her parents will go to jail, because if they know, then they not only allow me to do statutory, but they contributed to the abuse of a minor. It's in the books, trust me. I am studying police science and criminal justice, so some of my knowledge is coming back to these videos. And the thing with that is, that's about the only case scenario where the law has to step in. Because a 40-year-old man dating a 14-year-old is not only illegal, it's also unfathomable, and it should not ever have to happen. Now, way back in like the 30s and the 20s and shit like that, where, you know, once you hit like 12 or 13, if you had boobs, you were pretty much grown. You know, that's a whole different ballgame. This is like before the Great Depression. This is like before slavery and shit. Because people were having babies at 12 and 14. Slaves were being raped the minute they start developing, and next thing you know, they're popping out interracial babies. Babies that are being sold across the country. And then you have indentured servants and celestial brides coming over, and they're also being raped by the people who are supposed to be their handlers or whatever. And these things happen. This is what America was really built on, and no one wants to address that. But America was really truly built on racism to begin with. Now, just ask the Native Americans. They'll tell you a lot of them was innocently scalped, and a lot of women were raped, and the kids were assimilated into the tribe because no one would take them. And the women who were raped, they were shunned by the tribes. So, you know, having these mixed children running around wasn't really helping, and it was forever adding to their shame and adding to tribal resentment and shit like that. And some members of the tribe, you know, they literally would try to go hunt rapists out, but then they never could find them, and then they all look alike. So therefore, that's one of the primary reasons of why these things keep happening. There's also a bee flying around me, so if I jump up and run, it'll be because either I got stunned or it got too close. So we don't want to really address racism, and that is why it keeps becoming such a hot topic, because no one really wants to sit down and take a group of people. Now, when I say this, I want y'all to understand and clarify. When I say a group of people, I don't just mean white people. I mean all people. Take 4 people from every race and every ethnicity, just like you would do in the UN, and set them in a room. You probably want to handcuff them all to the chairs until bathroom break time comes, because a lot of people are going to say some shit that a lot of people aren't going to like. And there's a spider. How you doing, fella? You gotta go. Anyway, when we sit here and we get to know why you hate me, why I hate you, why. The why is the question. Just like I said, you can't change your race. You cannot. You can change everything else in life. You can't change your race. You can change your gender, because they have surgery for that. But you can't change your race. And I say that because here's the hardcore truth. When I fill out an application, I don't put down Cherokee. I don't put down white. I don't put down other. The damn B. I put down black. And there have been many times where I have put down black, and the people giving me the application have asked me, am I sure? And I'm like, well, what do you think I am? You'd be surprised at how many times someone said, hey, you look like you're a Mexican, or possibly a Filipino, or possibly a Hawaiian. And I tell them, believe me, 2 things. If I was Hawaiian, I would not give up Hawaii for snow, right? And 2, if I was Mexican, I'd probably get a better job because I can speak Spanish. But since I can't do either one of those and I'm not Hawaiian, it's got to take what I can get. But the thing with that is, if we all sit down and understood our differences, then we understand our similarities. So let me drop the similarities because I can't give you the differences. I am not of a different race. I am of all 3, and I can only give you the similarities. We like fresh breath, so we brush our teeth. We like not stinking, so we wash and use deodorant. We all love women, and women who love men, regardless of the race. We all love sex. So those 3 things there we all have in common, right? Because I shower every day, regularly. Doesn't matter what time, as long as I get in that shower, I don't care. And on Sundays, I actually shower twice, because I don't want to have to fight people for a Monday morning bathroom. So I will shower again tonight, get in my PJs, get up, go to work, play in trash, come home, and shower again. So technically, I shower twice on Sundays, which is technically once on Monday, because I usually get in the shower at midnight on Sundays. So there's that. Let's see, what else do we have in common? Let's see. For the women, they all have that time of the month. All babies, unless they're a C-section, come out of their vaginas. All sperm come out of penises. So those are the 5 things we kind of have in common, and we have to adapt and deal with, because life goes on through sex. Now, what do we have differently? Okay, the shape of our eyes. Now, Asian eyes are a little smaller, depending on if they have the crease in certain spots of their eyes. But here's the thing. Genghis Khan went around Europe and had sex with women, probably by force, not by course, which is why they can prove him back to 1 in 1,000 men are descendants of Genghis Khan, whether they know it or not. Now, Asian DNA is more than likely the more prevalent DNA. Of all the DNAs, Asian DNA and black DNA are the 2 strongest DNA, which is why then they say 1 drop of black blood and your ass is black, regardless of your skin tone, because my true skin tone's up here. Now, when you weigh the pros and cons on that, what do we not have in common? Cultural backgrounds, all right? Cultural backgrounds based on stereotypes and unhealthy moments. And when I say that, a lot of Chinese people have been accused of eating dog meat. Yet, if you look at a lot of videos from China and Korea on Instagram, a lot of these people have pet dogs. They didn't eat their dogs. They take them out every day. They take care of them religiously. And some people in America, myself included, have accidentally ate dog meat. Dog meat, not dog food. It might have been cat meat. I'm not really sure because the Chan house being closed a long, long time ago and they had cats in a barrel, which does not help this conversation one bit. But you see how stereotypes go on. Freeze. Native Americans, other people, I wouldn't specifically say Cherokee, but they have also been accused of eating dogs. Not just buffalo, not just crow, not just swans and shit like that, but dogs. So, henceforth, a lot of Asian cultures get a bad rap for eating dogs. Not so much about Korea, but but mostly like poor, like Vietnam or somewhere not so poor like China and places like that have been accused of eating dogs and cats and shit like that. So when you think about it, I'm gonna put it to you this way: if it came down to eating dog meat and I didn't know it versus starving, I'm going to chow on that dog meat, and it's him or me in a zombie apocalypse. So if I gotta kill the dog to eat, so sorry dog, I'm gonna regret that every day that I've said that, but in a zombie apocalypse, that's probably more fashionable to happen than in real life where you can find something to eat. I just found a can of chicken noodle soup today that I clearly hid from myself for about like 2 months. Except for to eat that soup. But the thing is, so then you have, sorry, I'm not just picking on Asians right now, but I'm kinda am. Then you have the Asian stereotype of all Asians know Kung Fu and all Asians know each other. That is not always the truth, because at one point, at one time, there were warring state eras in Japan and in China and in Vietnam and in Korea where everyone from those countries hated each other, and they fought each other until there was a victor, which is how the land of China became China, because it started off as the land of Qin, from the Qin dynasty. Prior to that, there were dynasties ahead of that, and they just didn't know what the hell to call themselves. I guess that's just the way it is. And then you got the terracotta soldiers who died with the emperor. Okay? Don't ask why they would volunteer to be bronzed, but that's just the way it is. Then in Japan, you have the Japanese who hated the Japanese, and you have the Edos, and you have the Fujiwaras, and all these other fractions going against the emperors and shit like that. And then eventually you have those emperors and governments of Japan that also wound up attacking China. And you have China who wound up attacking Tibet. And you have Korea who's in between both of them and negotiating, and then you have Mongolia, and you have Laos, and you have Indonesia, and you have Malaysia. You see where I'm going. So Asians have had a bad rap for hating Asians just as bad as they have a bad rap for hating others as well. Now let's pick on some black people in this damn beat. So let's see, black people, sadly, we are probably the worst at it because black people don't want other black people to succeed, so we will do anything and everything to sabotage another black person for success. It is okay to have a 10% successful black rate in something, but it's not okay to have a 50% black rate in something. You understand where I'm going? So, my acting career hasn't taken off in 19 years, and I'm still fighting the good fight, but I can't seem to catch a break. And anybody who is black and is in charge obviously doesn't see me as a black person. So I'm thinking of billing myself as just a Cherokee, because I may have a fighting chance at doing that when it comes to black people. A lot of black prejudice comes towards black people who have more lighter skin tone. If a darker black person is in charge, they don't really want a lighter black person in their midst. Where on the reverse side of that, what y'all thought y'all light skinned people were going to walk away from that? No, because it works both ways on that color wheel. If a light-skinned black person is in charge, it's more than likely that they will hire a dark-skinned black person to be in that, because blacks hate blacks more than whites, or Asians hate blacks. And a lot of people don't know that. A lot of people want to admit to that, but that's just the way the fucking shit rolls. Nobody hates a black person more than a black person. It's the same concept with women. Nobody hates women more than women, because a lot of women just think that their vagina's the shit, and every other woman's vagina is not. Which is why you have a lot of female-on-female violence, and people be like, oh, females don't fight females. Bullshit. Believe what you want. they don't do it as bad as us dudes. They do it on a slip note. We, on the other hand, we'll fight. It'll be over. We'll shake hands. It's done. But females get down. They'll fight and they'll keep fighting until they get their point across, and then all hell breaks loose. But yet then they get prim and pretty and try to be all right and shit. Now let's pick on white people. So I just picked on blacks. I'm going to pick on white people. White people don't have this initial hatred towards each other, except when it comes down to like the Jewish community versus other Anglos. Now I say it that way because I've never really met a dark-skinned Jewish person. If you're white. That's just me. I don't really know how to tell different white people apart. It's the same thing with black people. I don't know how to tell different black people apart. We have a color wheel. You got light, you got dark, and you got medium. That's pretty much it. I can't really tell Asians apart. They don't all look alike, but if they have certain names, I can figure out what's Chinese, what's Japanese, what's Korean. But you have to understand that some of the other Asian islands that were settled by Chinese, and so some of their names are completely outlandish to me, and I'm like, okay, I don't even remotely say that. But Chins, Changs, Chows, and Chos can also be Korean, right? Ito, Fujiwara, Takahashi, Hoshi, those are Japanese. But the last name Ho can be Chinese and Korean. And if you reverse it into its O, it can be more Korean. So it all changes. And in Vietnam, they have some crazy ass last names. The Philippines have Spanish last names because they was conquered by Spain, just like Mexicans have Spanish last names because they were conquered by Spain. Where most Americans, and that includes slaves, have European last names because they were conquered mostly by Europeans from England, which is why we're all so close to England now. Now, I'm picking on white people for the simple fact that white people, they don't hate each other as much as black people hate black people, and as other people hate other people. But however, at the time we were like when Asians hate Asians, it was generally because there was war between their countries. Like if you're Chinese and you were having some issues with someone like Tibet, it was because Tibet was conquered by China and they're still having issues over there to this day. And if you're Chinese and you hate Japanese, it was because of that whole shit in the 40s where Japan, somehow a smaller country, was ruling over top of a country that could have massively just wiped them out if they thought about it, but they didn't. And then the Mao era and all that other stuff. So you have to do a little bit more research on what I'm talking about. But Japan had somehow magically conquered China. I never figured that out because Japan is so much smaller than China and has lesser people. But I guess the person who has the most weapons wins. And in that era, that was when they banned martial arts in China because the Japan overseers decided, no, we can't let y'all have something that we don't have, which is how karate got spawned, and then karate was all over the place. Anyway, that's not 1000% accurate, but it's accurate for this video. Now, then, when you get to white people, the only really thing that I can say about white people that would probably be offensive right now is that a lot of blonde-eyed, blue-eyed people were hating black-eyed, brown-eyed, and green-eyed people, and whatever color eyes Jewish people have, and stuff like that. These are the things that lead to racism. And until we all sit on our asses and try to talk about what makes us hate other people, we will never get rid of racism. So I'm at the 25-minute mark. Or 23-minute mark. I don't have my class. 24. So we're gonna go on a little longer, and then I'm going to go back to the LGBTQ thing. So when you sit here and you talk about what makes people racist or prejudiced, or what makes people hate each other, you have to weigh the pros and cons on how did you get here. For a lot of people, one bad experience is what done it. You have one bad experience. Let's say you're a white guy and you got beat up by some black cats. You ain't gonna allow a lot of black people. You don't want them nowhere really around you because you're living in fear that the next black person you meet may attack you. That has been a proven prejudice fact. I actually talked to someone when I was a child on why they really didn't like black people. And they told me it's because I had a bad experience with black people. And though not all black people are the same, that person, who you are, said that, I would rather not be in the presence of more than one or two black people at a time. And I get that feeling because a week or so ago I had my meeting with the American Legion, they meeting, and I happened to be the only person of color there. Now, don't get this wrong. Everybody there was beautiful and lovely, and I had a good time, and they fed me, but I was the only person of color there. And I was having a bit of an anxiety attack. I adapt very well, but I was the only person of color there. It kind of freaked me out a little bit because normally I'm used to being in places where other people are, and there are more people of color or more people in general all around. But this dinner that we had, there was no black people, there were no Asian people, there were only white people and Blue Star families who I see. And I said to myself, oh my God, I hope I'm not the only black person here. I don't think they all even thought I was black. They probably thought I was Mexican. They probably thought I was Hawaiian or whatever. That doesn't matter what they thought. They accepted me and they treated me like I was one of theirs. And that's the point I was making. There was no racism there. The dog demonstration was awesome with the police dogs and with the military dogs and everything that we had a good learning experience that way. And so, we can't judge people by the color of their skin. We can't judge people by anything other than their actions. And the American Legion dinner was like probably one of the best dinners I had in my life. And it was like we all got to talking after. Race wasn't even an issue. Wasn't even an issue. No one treated me any different than they treated anybody else in there. And it was great. Now, when you look at when I came in there, I didn't even get stared at like not one time. I did feel isolated, but that was my own personal feelings because I was just shocked that there were no black soldiers there at all. And it kind of messed me up a bit. And I was like, okay, well, maybe they'll come and look. And I thought that. And I will tell you, the kindest couple and their child or their soldier came and sat beside me. And he was in a handicap. And not one of them treated me like I was any different. So it was just like me being a white man right there. So there are some exceptions to the rule, even though I know in my heart, my soul, and in my skin tone, I will never ever be a white man. But I was expected and I was treated very well that night. We as people need to sit down and address this racial bullshit. Now, with the blonde eye, blue hair, whatever thing, everybody has their niche, and you have to be comfortable with who you are. And you can't ever be mad at someone because of the color of their skin. Now, if they're an asshole, then that's fine. You can be mad at them for being an asshole. But while being mad at them, don't do the following. I can't stand your black ass, your Asian ass, your white ass, your any other racist innuendo. Because that went from being very nice to being straight up, you're fucking racist. Understand? Or you're being prejudiced. Kind of a thin line. But the fact of the matter is that, we don't address this. We won't address this. And until we do, it's always going to be a hot topic. Now, as I get ready to close out, because, we're just going to make another video, because we're at the 30-minute mark.